it's Anja here. I'm back with another video for Ophelia Crafts. So, in a couple of tutorials ago, I showed you how to make these roses. Now, these were just using the same punches as I have out today, the Fun Flower Punch, the Pansy Punch, and the Petite Petal Punch. And I used very vanilla paper. The very vanilla paper makes for a really sort of almost realistic look of a flower. You can see some of the veins and things like that. And I put them together using a brad, and I squeezed it, and I sort of sprayed it with lots of water, squeeze it well, and then open it all up again. I will do that for you in a moment as well. And then after drying, this is what the flower looks like. Now, I've had a couple of ladies making them and they've got wonderful results. So I thought I would try for a coloured flower. So I went about and I chose purple because that's my favourite colour. And this flower I sprayed with, I punched out Whisper White paper. I sprayed it, I let it dry, then I put the punch outs together and turned it into a flower, spraying it again. This is this effect. So it's all the same colour, Perfect Plum, and it's not quite that colour anymore on here. Also what I found is it has a hint of green on the back. Now on the back obviously that doesn't matter, but I was a bit worried it would have it on the front. Of course it's from the colour, from spritzing it with the colour. So I used my water spritzer, put some re-inco drops in there and then sprayed it with that. So that was that effect. And then this one here, I did that one by using Whisper White paper and making the flower, but spraying it with coloured water. So not spraying it first and letting it dry and then making the flower. No, this one I did spraying it straight away with the coloured water, and that's this effect. So this one is darker, more the colour of the paper, but I don't know whether you can see, it's got darker edges. So, well, it's different techniques, different effects. This one, this is blue because I'm making a card with Early Espresso and Soft Sky, so I wanted to use this one. This one is coloured paper, and obviously that's going to have the nicest effect colour wise. So today I thought I would make for you a Perfect Plum flower. So let me show you how I go about doing this. So we need 4. So in the whole scheme of things, it's more expensive to make this flower, to make it out of coloured cardstock, obviously, and instead of spritzing is cheaper basically, but oh, I never can get it out. But you can't, obviously you're not going to get the colour as you want it. So that's the best way to go about it if you want a perfectly coloured flower. If you're not too fussed, or if it's a whole bouquet, you might just want to, just spritz it. What I haven't tried is just making a white flower and then just, okay, you can get a couple of flowers out of here. I suppose you can get 3 flowers out of one sheet of paper, so that's not too bad. But if you're making a whole bouquet, you might want to think about spritzing them or even colouring them, depending on how you're going to use your flowers. You could also daub them in a way, Right, so this is what we need. We need 4 big ones, 4 pansies and 2 small ones. Lately, because of pushing through, I couldn't get through all of the layers, so I'm just doing it separately now and pushing it. So each time I just push into the middle, and then the next one I make sure that the petals are offset. So just pushing through the middle makes it easier than trying to get through all the middles in one go. And I've got my green underlay here just to protect my surface a little bit, because I've been colouring flowers lately, spritzing re-inker and stuff like that, so things are getting a little bit dirty. Okay, so that's what I wanted to get up for earlier. Oh yes, my brads. Oh, I got them down off the shelf, but do you think I got them out of the bag and ready to use? No, it's way too easy. Right, so these are just any brads really. I don't know where I got them from. The smaller the brad, the better, because you're hiding it anyway. So, right, then you put the brad like this. So from the front to the back, you open it up so that your flower stays together. I suppose you could start, no, I think you need to spritz them. I thought you might be able to just flick them up like that, dry, but that doesn't really. So, spritz. And these days I help my piercing tool helps me to bring up the petals. And just squeeze them together like that. Can you see that? So you squeeze this together really well, and then you spritz again onto the flower, not onto yourself. Oh my word. Honestly, imagine there had been re-inker in that. It's typical, isn't it? Right. So, and put it all together, because these first two petals, we're not opening those up again. They sort of stay together as the heart of the flower. And then we bring up the rest. And you can tell, obviously, from the difference in colour that you haven't spritzed it. So I bring it up, and then I spritz under, and so you're spritzing underneath the next that flower, and then on top of the next one. So then you get the water everywhere. And do be quite liberal. Do be quite careful as well. But the paper can take the water, so it's okay. And even if a petal breaks off, it's in the whole flower. You're not going to notice that. Oh, yeah, okay, that was onto my punches. Oh dear. And we're taking it up again. See, this is easier to bring up. Let me sit down again, that's a bit easier for me. Right, okay. But this paper obviously is thicker to start with, so you're going to need more water anyway, because it doesn't, you know, there's a more volume to take water in. The Whisper, the Very Vanilla is a tiny bit thinner than the coloured cardstock that we carry, so you do need a little bit more water than you might think. And bring up the middle really well. See, look at the water squashing into the middle. The water comes up, see? That's what you need. Okay, and the next one is to come up. This is easier because you can just, the tips of the petals, you can lift those up. And again, water. Oh, my computer's making lots of noises. Oh, that was in the wrong direction. There we go. And the next one, again, lifting up those petals quite easily. Right, there we go. And same thing. You sort of try to lift them from the top, from the bottom, and then squeeze them into the middle. And spray again. Now I am going to have to start using these flowers for something, so I might be filming a tutorial for a card with these flowers soon. So there we go. So what I do now as well is I try to round this here as well. Yeah, and then bring it all in and squeeze it together. So you get sort of a bud. Now you could, if you're making a bouquet, you could leave it like that, obviously. But we want to have them fairly flat, so we can actually put it on cards. So I have here this. It's a stick, basically. You could use a pencil, something like that. And I use it to roll back my petals. So I take the petal at the top, at the tip, and I put it onto my, and I roll it back. Can you see that? Instead of this flower punch, you could also use the blossom punch, and that would give you bigger leaves on the outside of your flower. And you just keep doing that. Keep rolling them out. And bringing them out so that they're nicely... Listen to that rain. Goodness. Okay. And you just keep doing that. This video is becoming longer than I thought, but never mind. There we go. So once you've done all the big ones, you then start on the pansy ones, and they're going to be more sort of filling out the middle of the flower, so bring them out. At this point you can, with your fingers, just bring them out like this, but it's a nice effect if you roll them back. I mean, most of us have these punches, so it's nice to be able to use them for a different kind of project than on our stamped cards. It's always nice, I think, to find, because you invest in this punch, and I call it investing because they're not cheap, but if you look around online, you will find that always somebody has come up with a different way of using the punch, even if it's just the punching itself. Somebody might have just come up with a different way of using the bits and making it into a different kind of object or whatever you... So I'm quite pleased that I can be making these flowers. There. So the middle, like I said, the middle ones we're not going to touch. And this one now is going to go onto the radiator to dry, and if you wanted to, you could, like I'm doing now, I'm just bending the petals a little bit more so there would be a little bit more dimension, but you can put them lower, you know, you can push them down a little bit lower if you know it's going to go onto a card and it needs to go in the post or something like that. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I've tried out different ways of making these flowers, and I find, yes, if you want a nicely coloured flower, obviously you're going to have to use the cardstock, but if you don't mind about the different, you know, the sort of a little bit of variation in your flower, then go ahead and spray it or spritz it. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!